Alright, let's get this out of the way right away. If you have to do something or it's deemed as mandatory so that you can live your life or do the things that you need to do, you are no longer free. So let's do an exercise in critical thinking, something that is frowned upon these days. Let's say a health crisis arises, rising to the level of what is promoted as a national or worldwide emergency. If you were trying to fast track some kind of treatment, would you use something that is untested and is brand new and nobody knows what the real effects could be in the long term? Or would you go with what has worked in the past? Tried and true methods that have shown results and have been shown to be effective, and so forth and so on. You'd obviously go with what works, what you have experience in, what handles or lessens the problem. Is that what's going on today? Are we using tried and true methods or coming up with something completely new, untested, and saying that it works? There's something else going on here, ladies and gentlemen. And if there wasn't, we would be going with what works instead of pushing something that nobody, even the people who produced it, has any idea of what the long-term effects or the outcomes will be. So let's make this as logical as possible. Someone comes to you and says, I'm going to give you this concoction. I'm not going to tell you what's in it. And if something happens to you, I'm not liable for the effects. What would common sense say to do? Especially given the situation that it's brand new. That nobody really knows because it hasn't been out there long enough to determine what it's going to do. Reminds me of another story. Years ago, my mother said she was going to buy a brand new car. It was called the Oldsmobile Calais, and it had a totally redesigned, what they called a quad 4 engine in it. Brand new, never been tried before, so forth and so on. I told her not to buy that car. It's probably going to end up being a maintenance nightmare. And turned out it was. Because tried and true was not the rule of the day. It's not what was done, and it wasn't built into the design. So take a lesson from Oldsmobile, one of the oldest car companies in this country, who is no longer around. Sometimes you can't reinvent the wheel. Sometimes there are inherent flaws that aren't known to the people who use the product in the future. And those flaws can cause nightmares. personally, financially. And when it comes down to it, in this case, spiritually. Because just because you slap a different sticker on whatever product doesn't change the nature of that product. If you get what I'm saying. Or does it? Because if you go inside the human body and mess around with the key elements that makes human beings who they are, maybe you do change everything. And someone down the road might not recognize you.